Hello, BookTube. Welcome back to the History Shelf. My name is Peg. Thanks for joining me again. Today I'm doing another installment of my new series of indie author spotlights. In this case, I'm doing several in this video that have come in over the last couple months, and I wanted to highlight these historical fiction novels that are not on a mainstream publisher's imprint, but are very promising indeed from what I've looked at so far. But before we get into the indie author spotlight, I have to recognize that it's great to be a Michigan Wolverine. It's great to be a Michigan Wolverine. Yes, my team won the national championship, proved everybody wrong. It was Michigan versus everybody, but now it's Michigan beat everybody. 15-0 season. First national championship since 1997, when I was 25. Oh, I just, those of you who can do math really quick, just stated, gave away my age. But hey, I'm feeling pretty good. It was a nice gift after being sick at the end of Christmas and New Year's. So, yay. All right, so let's hop right in. After I finish reading the Mud and Misery books, and there's a novella coming my way from the author. This is the next book I'm going to be reading, and I'm trying to slot this into my schedule. I know I've said this ad nauseum, but I'm a book reviewer in addition to my day job and doing this channel. And so I do freelance book reviewing, and I'm always busy and always have more things than I can get to, but I try to get to as many books as I can. And I'm really passionate about supporting independent authors, and especially in the realm of historical fiction. So that's why I ramped up this new series, Indie Author Spotlight, so I can do my part to get these books in front of you, let you know they're out there, and where you can find them. And so the first two, I think, indie author spotlights I did. I know one was covering World War I, and the one before that, the Heavens Will Fall, is set during the Civil War. Well, this takes it even further back. And this is a novel on John Quincy Adams and the Monroe Doctrine, of all things, and it's called The Middle Generation. As you can see, it's an ARC copy, not for resale. It's by M.B. Zucker. And the publisher is Historian Books. And sometimes these independent books are kind of put out on a person's own label. But I'm not really familiar with Historian Books. But anyway, this looks really interesting. I have kind of read a few pages of it, and I was intrigued. And I think this is one I'd like to highlight on the channel. So this is next in line for what I'll be reading independent wise. So what is this about? I will tell you. The classical era of American history began with the Revolution and ended with emancipation. Between these bookends lies the absorbing yet overshadowed epic of a new nation spearheading liberty's cause in a world skeptical of freedom arriving at all, much less enslavers' garb. M.B. Zucker takes readers back to that adolescent country in the care of an enigmatic guide, John Quincy Adams, heir to one president by blood and another, Washington, by ideology. Adams is the missing link between the founders and Abraham Lincoln, and is nigh unanimously regarded as America's foremost Secretary of State. Through Adams's eyes, readers will experience one of history's greatest and most forgotten crises: his showdown with Europe over South American independence, the conflict which prefigured the Monroe Doctrine. Sorry, I can speak. With his signature dialogue and his close study of Adams's 51-volume diary, M.B. Zucker's The Middle Generation is a political thriller and character piece that surpasses his achievement in the Eisenhower Chronicles. I have not read that, but I think I'll be looking that up. And ascends to the cinematic heights of the historical epics of David Lean and Steven Spielberg. Wow. He's setting the bar high here. It is an unforgettable portrayal and a leap forward for one of our rising historical fiction novelists. Wow. Okay. And there's our author on the back with his sweet little dog there. It's M.B. Zucker. The Middle Generation from Historian Books. Check it out. Let me see. When is it? I wonder if it's out now. This is an ARC. It doesn't have the release date. I'll see if I can find that for you really quickly. But I think it's going to be a fascinating read. I don't think I've ever read a historical novel revolving around John Quincy Adams in that time frame in particular. So let me check the date for you. Yes, this book is out now. It came out in November of last year. So The Middle Generation, it's on Amazon. Check it out there. I'll see if I can leave a link to the author's page below. The next book actually came out in 2022, but I was contacted only just end of last year about this book, and I said I was quite interested in taking a look at it. This is Tanglewood, a novel by Shirley Petro Tamura. The publisher, I think this is self-published or independently published. She even inscribed the book. Isn't that lovely? It's been so nice and heartwarming to have authors reach out to me. And if you are an independent author of historical fiction, you can find my email address in the About tab on my YouTube channel below in the description box. I do have a business email address. Any author, really, of fiction or just nonfiction history, reach out to me. You know, I am an active published book reviewer, and I am constantly got my finger on the pulse of the new books coming out. So let me know. Anyway, let's see. Tanglewood says here, a scintillating saga that disrupts the norms of historical analysis as a family's passions play into their flight to freedom. And then says above that, this was the moment they could be separated. His young mind for the first time grasped that he was a body for sale. There, pardon me, I'm still getting over my cold. There existed a price for him, like what one might pay for a chair, a saw, or a sack of grain. The reality of his blackness, his servitude, and his helpless humanity enveloped him in a wave, in a wave of brown dust. That day, Henry Livingston purchased him and his parents. Together, they rode a wagon to Tanglewood, where his new life began. And I'll give you a little bit more from some of the blurbs about the book. This is from a former professor in creative writing at Keene State College who said, set just before the Civil War, Tanglewood introduces the reader to an ensemble of characters all working out the promise of freedom. Shirley Petro Tamura's sensual language enlarges the story of love and betrayal. From the description of Harriet, who emerged from the forest perimeter and stood outlined by tender hues of budding spring foliage, to the movement of a dandelion seed, how it parachutes forward and back like a pendulum inside a gray-black clock, this writer always finds the right image to describe nature, character, and desire. See another author, another blurb here says, meet a rich cast with all manner of evil, inconstant, and duplicitous members of both races. Readers are brought along as the fugitives steal their way along the Underground Railroad, pursued by greedy bounty hunters. Deeply researched, Tanglewood sheds light on the intimate details of slave life and punctuates this opulent narrative with tender quotes from the period poetry of Walt Whitman. So it sounds very interesting. It's Tanglewood is Shirley Petro Tamura's first novel. So congratulations! It's always great to read a first novel. It's a little over 235 pages, 237, and it's Tanglewood. So I'm happy to take a look at this. kind of putting things in order. And this book most recently came to me. I was contacted by the authors. At first, I wasn't sure if it was a history, but looking through, it's definitely written in the manner of a novel. So I'm gonna include this here. Um, it is written by a couple who've been married for 39 years. This is by Todd and Dee Dee Samuelson, and this is Cersei County, the Civil War's Secret Heroes. It's a really nicely produced book here. It looks like it's their own print label here. Pretty meaty. We've got, and it does have a bibliography, but I think they fictionalized the history of the people in this county. It's 378 pages, not including the bibliography. So Cersei County, The Civil War Secret Heroes by Todd and Dee Dee Samuelson. And it says here, it's 1861, and Cersei County, Arkansas, is divided by the Civil War. One man, David Crockett Ruff, has some hard choices to make. The godson of David Crockett and cousin to the famous cattle driver Charles Goodnight, he wants to fight, but how can he? His state is on the side of slavery, yet joining the Union means fighting against neighbors, friends, and family. So he chooses peace. When state officials discover he won't fight, they send out the militia to arrest him and his fellow Peace Society members. Suddenly, David's path is set. He will escape with a small group of friends to the north and fight to preserve his country, even as his brother Henry heads south and joins the Confederacy. Others in the Peace Society are marched away in chains, forced to fight for a cause they don't believe in. Not only can David and his friends fight, but they have experience hunting the forests and mountains of northern Arkansas, making them extremely useful. They are recruited as secret soldiers and placed under the supervision of the Union Army's chief spy master. As they fight their way back to peace, they must face gangs of rogue soldiers and, worse, their family. Cersei County, The Civil War Secret Heroes, tells the heartbreaking story of a brother against brother that so many families had to endure. This inspiring saga brings David Crockett Ruff's true story to life as he and his friends come in contact with some of the most famous and infamous individuals in U.S. history, such as Wild Bill Hickok, Bill Cody, Frank and Jesse James, Bloody Bill Anderson, Bellstar, and Bass Reeves, who has his own, well, not the real Bass Reeves, but there is a show now on, I forget which channel it is. I think it's a streaming channel, but they got Bass Reeves series going. Anyway, while they navigate the hell that is the Civil War, and when a madman and his gang slaughter a bunch of unarmed soldiers, can David Crockett Ruff and his crew, with the help of some famous friends, bring them to justice? Or will that vile act stop the construction of one of our national treasures and expose the beginnings of a national scandal? Well, this sounds really good, doesn't it? That is a nice, deep, and twisty plot, and it's based on a true story, a true life story. Um, Fascinating. So a little bit more about our authors. Todd and Dee Dee Samuelson have been married for 39 years. They have 4 children and several grandchildren. They have spent 10 years researching this book about Dee Dee's great-great-grandfather and his friends. Fascinating. But just as importantly, they have visited Cersei County many times and talked with many descendants of the people in this book. While there, they have become enthralled by the people and the natural beauty that is Cersei County. And here is our lovely couple. So congratulations on your book. It is available on Amazon. I'll have links in the video below in the description box for each of these books. I'm going to end up on a book that right now I am working on a book review for. It's the third in a series. So I haven't read the first 2, but I was really impressed with this book. And I'm writing a review of this for a book trip. Actually, I'll be working on it, finishing up that review as soon as I finish this video. But this is Bitter Ground, The Epic Journey of a Banished People by D.A. Galloway. Again, it doesn't have... Well, the publisher is Continuous Mile. But I know this is definitely an independent indie author. But D.A. Galloway has written two others in the series called Burning Ground and Fatal Ground. And it's intriguing take on historical fiction in that the main character, Graham Davidson, is a time traveler. And from what I understand from reading the reviews and reading about the first two books, is he draws heavily in the first book on his own life. The writer does, the author, and as far as what brings him to the moment of this character, like just tripping into some type of portal that takes him back in time to the old American West. So what's happening in this book? I'll read the back to you. But the two books previous in this series, are consequential for sure. If I have time, I'll try to go back and read the other two. But I know he's already working on the fourth installment. But for this book, Bitter Ground, it's set in 1876, 1877. But let me read this. After Graham Davidson witnessed Custer's defeat at Little Bighorn in June 1876, he wanted a place to raise his family away from the battles of the Great Sioux War. Graham and Makowee, that's his wife, traveled with their two young children to northeast Oregon, hoping to find a home with the Nez Perce under Chief Joseph. When several Indian bands refuse to abide by a treaty that forces them onto a reservation, their peaceful life in the Walla Walla Valley is shattered. Graham and his family joined 700 Nez Perce in their flight from the U.S. Army in 1877. Excuse me. The caravan makes a perilous trek through Idaho, Yellowstone National Park, and Montana. The exiled people hope to reach Canada, where Lakota chief Sitting Bull and his followers have taken refuge. Military leaders are determined to capture or kill the Nez Perce before they cross the border. Can Graham and Makowee's love withstand the trials of this odyssey? Will they make it to freedom? Or will they be among the casualties of the last Indian War? Follow their journey in this thrilling novel based on actual events. And I think I showed this to you on what I was going to be reading over Christmas, because I told you it was a novel that actually put in pictures of the people that were actually involved in this, whether it was the soldiers, the Native Americans. So I thought that was an interesting. He has pictures of the actual battlefields that he has fictionalized here, but it's a really interesting take on a historical novel, including photos and of battlefields and the people themselves who were involved. So yeah, I was really honestly, I was quite surprised. It's just how good this was, and he has a grasp on the Native American language, especially among the Crow and the Nez Perce, and beautiful descriptions of the topography. He's a knowledge of the Native American culture, so he definitely researches his fiction. So I don't know if the time travel element was necessary, but it's there, but it really is not a huge focus, which is good. So you can really immerse yourself in this and thinking you're just in that time and place. But anyway, and that's Bitter Ground by D.A. Galloway. And since, I was working on it and right before I made this video, I'm like, well, this is also an independent author. So I wanted to include that in this video. But there you have it. We've got some new indie authors out there for you guys. If you love supporting indie authors and checking out their work, these are some great additions to the historical fiction field. So check them out. I will have links below to all the authors. And yeah, let me know what you think. And thanks for supporting indie authors and by watching this video. So again, I'll have a more follow-up once I finish my World War One indie author, Patrick Kirk, and we'll just keep making our way through these books. So thanks for your patience as I work through an unbelievable backlog of books. There's so much there's so much coming out, but it's so exciting too. So anyway, guys, thanks for joining us here on the History Shelf. Go blue forever, and take care. Bye bye.